was the only Republican to vote to maintain one of the housing programs, one of three to maintain one of the others. The thing was, I was told, well, it only helped 17,000 people in Nevada. The fact is that 17,000 people in Nevada, that it helped. And when you're #1 in the country in foreclosures, helping 17,000 people means a lot. I've also introduced a piece of legislation called the Second Chance at Home Ownership Act, which will give people who have lost their homes to foreclosure or short sale an opportunity to get back into a home by pretty much forgiving the negative credit report mark that they get for having that short sale or foreclosure. A lot of people now are back on their feet. They're actually paying more in rent than a mortgage would cost, but they can't get back into a home. And I'll just cut it off there and go to questions.
All right, sounds good. Go ahead. Here's the man with the mic.
Hi, I live in your district. I'm in real estate. I've called your office in Washington. I've called your office here, and I can't get a straight answer. So, as of December 31st, the people who have housing, who are the hardest hit, after that, they'll be responsible for a tax of $75,000. Now, President Obama wants to extend the exemption. I have not been able to get a clear answer from your office, both here and in Washington. Simple question, are you in favor of extending that exemption, or like Mitt Romney says, the hell with homeowners?
No, sir, I am in favor of that exemption. In fact, I've supported the legislation that's been introduced in the House on that very issue. In fact, you shouldn't be taxed on money that you've never seen. What the gentleman is referring to is the fact that if you short sale your home, or you sell your home for less than it's worth, that amount of money that's forgiven on your mortgage is being taxed. And I don't think that that's right. That money did not come into your pocket. You shouldn't be taxing that money. And I plan to support that legislation. Hopefully it'll come up as part of the extender package in the lame duck when we get back after the election, but I support it.
Even though I'm terribly offended by this gentleman's use of profanity in the temple, let me actually say what Mitt Romney said, which is he said, just let the foreclosure process continue, let the market hit bottom. Is he right about that part of it?
Look, the foreclosure crisis has to run its course. We have to get people through the process. We try to keep as many people in their homes as we can, but for those that are out of their homes, we've got to try to give them an opportunity to get back into a home. Look, if we get rid of some of these now abandoned homes, everybody's property values will go up. The idea is to put homeowners back into homes. Homeowners improve their properties, they go out, they buy things at the Home Depot, at Lowe's, they'll call in a contractor, they create ripple jobs. And it raises everybody's property values when we increase home ownership.
You don't think you should stop the foreclosure process in some cases if it's...
I think we should do everything possible to try to keep somebody in their homes. And that's some of the programs that we have, whether it's the new HARP 2.0, which now allows people who are current on their mortgages to participate before you had to be behind. Whether it's the Hardest Hit Fund, which we have some here in Southern Nevada, which we've been able to use with success in our office in helping people get principal reductions or being able to refinance their homes. So we've got to do everything possible to keep people in their homes. And really the best way to do that for most people is to get them back to work so that they can afford their mortgage payment.
All right, another question.
Congressman Heck, my name is Adam Berger. I'm a constituent and an educator. Can you explain to me, I mean, it would be devastating to educators in Nevada, why you're supporting Paul Ryan's budget?
Okay, now first let me just say that sounds like a planned question, but I would have asked it too, so you're good.
Well, specifically as it pertains to education, well, when you look at the fact that we're $16 trillion in debt, and it's going to rise exponentially over the next decade, that's really going to be the greatest threat to our nation, to education, to social service programs, to homeowners, to everyone from coast to coast. So we've got to start reining in our spending. We've got to do it. And we've got to start making reasonable, prudent, deliberate reductions in spending so that we're not spending more than we're taking in. And that means, I mean, I sit on the Education and Workforce Committee, and we have passed out legislation, some of which has actually been sent to us by the President, to streamline, get rid of duplicative programs, stop funding programs that have not proven to have any worth, have not returned on their investment. And these are the things that we're looking at and trying to bring down the cost while increasing the quality. And we need to do that across all federal agencies if we're ever going to get out from underneath this crushing debt that really our children and our grandchildren are going to be paying off for eternity.
Well, let me just follow up real quickly for this gentleman. streamlining, getting rid of duplicative programs. That's not really what's at the heart of the Ryan budget, though. You know that. It's fundamentally changing certain things. You support every bit of what Paul Ryan was trying to do in that budget.
I would say that I support every bit of what Paul Ryan's trying to do in the budget. But the fact is, it's the only budget that's been put forward. I mean, the Senate hasn't
Wait, that's like saying that if something awful was put forward, it's the only thing that's put forward, so I support it. So, no, but seriously, it's a good applause line, and some of the CEOs responded. But wait, seriously, serious question. What is it that's so great about the Paul Ryan budget that caused you to vote for it?
Well, the first thing is that it's a starting point. Okay, and you know, John, you've been around this business longer than I have. No bill passes out the way it's introduced. You had to have a starting point for discussion. No one else had a starting point. I mean, let's remember that the president and his party had the White House and both houses of Congress for 2 years and couldn't pass budget. So we got to put something out there.
Since you're going to do that, then I'm going to have to follow up and say, you know that's disingenuous. You know how the Senate works. You know that the Republicans in the Senate were going to block anything that the Senate did, correct?
The Senate in the previous 2 years had 60 votes. They had cloture without needing any Republican votes to move the budget, which they failed to do.
And so you think the Republicans had no, in the last 4 years, let's go 4 years, the Republicans had nothing to do with obstructing the president's agenda?
In the last 4 years? No.
Well, 3 years and 21 months.
The House has passed out a budget each one of the last 2 years. Okay? Previously, no budget was passed out when there was majority control of both houses, and the same party in the White House. So you've got to have a starting point. You've got to have a starting point for discussion to say, look, if we're going to be serious about this, and if we're going to have a deliberate discussion about how we're going to try to rein in our spending while continuing to provide the critical services that government is meant to provide, you got to have a starting point. And that's what the Paul Ryan budget is.
Next question. Guys.
Mr. Carter.